Hi, and thank you for joining me on this episode of Ask Tricia Advice Vlog and Podcast. Tonight, my guest is a great friend of mine that I met in grad school. Such a cool person. He loves and works in stop motion animation. He was on the team of an Oscar-winning documentary called The Long Way Home. And now he's here joining me from the East Coast, my good friend, Matthew Manning. Hi, Matthew. How are you, my friend?
Good. How's it going, Patricia?
It's just great. Thank you for being here with me today. I'm so happy to have you.
Oh, you're welcome. Not much to do during lockdown, so anything is exciting.
Exactly. So, you're out there now on the East Coast. How are you enjoying the new environment?
It's great. The standard of living is so much higher than it was in Los Angeles. Just on the value of everything in life. Gasoline is $2 cheaper a gallon. We're saving probably over $1,000 a year in auto insurance. And that's with a new car.
Wow.
Yeah. We'll be able to buy a home, which where we lived in Burbank would be almost impossible. And
wow.
Not like a little 900 square foot, 1 bedroom, 1 bath home, like a real home that you picture when you say, oh, I bought a house. It has like bedrooms and bathrooms and is on a tree-lined street in a safe neighborhood with good schools. Growing up in Los Angeles, it's like, if you're lucky, you could buy a tiny house in a bad neighborhood for, $800,000. But, that puts almost everyone completely out of the question, but here it's just people that have, regular jobs at Starbucks and Target. They own homes.
Wow. I might need to relocate. Scoot over, Matthew.
Okay.
Well, I just say, it's really different. Being from Texas, it's almost the same, but it's getting a little bit more LA style. I heard they're building brownstones and townhomes all in the downtown area, trying to make it upscale now. And they're asking these astronomical prices. And I'm sitting here thinking, who has this kind of money down there in Texas?
Who has $750,000 to buy a 1-bedroom condo?
Yeah. And nobody down south has one kid or, really single anymore. Everybody has big families and things like that because that's just the Southern way. So I don't know who they think they're going to sell those places to, but it is getting out of control down there as well.
Yeah.
I want to jump right into this and say this show is about advice and in school, I always came to you for advice on some type of software or a movie or something like that. And I just say, I want to say I miss you so much, Matthew, because we had so much fun in grad school. And I don't have a friend right now who loves movies as much as you and I did together. But today, I want to ask, what is the best advice you've ever given someone?
That I've ever given someone? Well, one of the reasons I went to grad school was to get my master's degree so I could teach. I had a colleague of mine who's also an animator, taught at this small little liberal arts school in Burbank called Woodbury. And he went on sabbatical and he asked me to take over one of his classes. And I took over one of his classes and it turned out that I liked it a lot. And he told me, well, do you have a master's degree? No, I have a master's degree. Cool. If you want to do it full time, you need a master's degree. So I was like, oh, Christ. So I go back to school, first time in 20 years, and got my master's. And then I started teaching at that school as an adjunct professor. And the advice I always gave all my students and that was assignment related, but also like in life, kind of as, don't tell me, show me, don't tell me you're a good person, show me you're a good person, if you're like late with an assignment, don't just tell me, like show me. At least I would rather you turn in a failing assignment than not turn anything at all and lie to me about it,
Right.
And it's kind of like, when we're talking about, our favorite president, Donald Trump, he's always saying how much of a Christian he is and all that and stuff. Well, don't tell me, show me, and well, that's a different story, but it's,
we're going to digress from that right now.
So don't tell me, show me. And part of that is also showing up.
Right.
Like even back at grad school, we were on like an expedited, version of grad school, but you had to show up every day. Like in the program we were in, if you missed a class, it was like missing 2 weeks of school.
Yeah.
So I guess just showing up and participating. There's a printout. If you want, I'll email it to you.
Okay.
It was an article in some magazine. I can't remember what it was, but it's a great film production analogy. And they call it the analogy of the flashlight. And it's pretend you're in a dark cave and you're in there with a group of people, and everybody in there is working on a film production, and they all have a specific job to do. And there's a flashlight that's spinning around, and it lands on everybody. When it lands on them, it's time for them to do their job.
Right.
And once it lands on them, they have no excuse. So if they're not ready, if they're not prepared, if they're not there, so it just says that, when that flashlight lands on you, you need to be ready to do your job. So be there and be prepared. And there's no excuse if you're not there. It's the type of thing that you can't blame anybody else other than yourself for not being prepared. And so it's like an exiting gift on the last day of class. I usually give that to my students, say, look at this article, read it. It's really important. And
nice. It is that old adage where it says, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You have to be ready at all times, because you never know what is going to happen in your life. And if you're a step behind, then you're going to miss out on what's right there to be presented to you at that time. We always had issues with students and our classmates not being ready in class on their part of the project, and we have to take over and then do their part and our part just to get the thing done on time, so that, for me, that was always frustrating. I was always in the lab 24/7 trying to make sure that our film or my assignment was done properly and on time. I mean, because that's what people do in life. You have those type of people who are the slip ups and they don't have the same gusto that you have about things, or the same passion, so it's frustrating when you're passionate about something and other people aren't. I have a niece who's a classical musician now, and she just entered college. And so now she's calling me and telling me all about her assignments that she has to record and film and do this. And so last night she finally called me after a couple of weeks. She said, "Oh, Tricia." I said, "Yes, ma'am." "You're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" "I did this wonderful piano performance, and I get up and I go to the camera and it wasn't recording."
Yep. Well, that was for rehearsal.
I said, "See, I told you have to be ready." I say you have to have a backup, be ready at all times, because when you don't have that backup, that's when you're going to give your best performance.
Yep.
Now I want to flip the script and ask, what's the best advice someone has ever given you?
probably just to always be kind, you know, from, you know, of course, mother and my grandmother and some of my teachers and professors is like, you know, if you're competing, you know, with somebody for a job or you're on a class project and like somebody doesn't do, you know, their work, or if you're working on a team on a job, if you're not the best, you know, you may not be the slowest and stuff. If the project gets done and people like it, they're not really going to remember like who did what or whatever, but they are going to remember who's kind and who the asshole was.
Yes.
Like a lady I work with a lot, doing stop motion. She actually works for Disney online, doing like little videos and stuff. A lot of them are arts and crafts, like Mommy and Me videos, like, you know, how to make this and how to make that. There's a lot of animation in that. And I really like this lady, and everyone liked her. And she told me, she goes, yeah, well, Matt, you know, when I first started out, I wasn't like this. She said, I was mean, I was arrogant, I was tenacious, and just a horrible person. And she told me about one of her first jobs. She was working at Fox, like in like KTLA in Los Angeles. And she would constantly be like screaming and pushing and like shoving people. You know, someone's like, "Oh, we need this tape, you know, to put it in this deck." Like she would just like grab it out of the person's hands, like, "You're not that smart," you know, and like shove it in the. And one of her supervisors was like, you know, "Oh, I'm here. I'd like to talk to you about something." So she had the whole talk with her, you know, about like, you know, you don't want to be that one female boss that, you know, everyone says is a bitch, you know.
Yeah.
And she says, you're headed down that way. So, and, you know, of course she gave her whole speech that, you know, since you're, you know, a female and a woman of color, you don't have to be as good as everybody else. You have to be better than everybody else. And she says, you also have to be nicer than everybody else. And so, you know, that goes back to just being kind. And in knowing this person that I know now, I can't even imagine her being like an angry, screaming person. And so I would think, being kind and understanding, and, you know, because I think that the arc of karma bends towards kindness. Eventually, it might be years down the line. You know,
but it's going to come back full circle.
What's that? Yeah. People will eventually say, remember back when? I think that whole thing came out to where I think Patricia was right on that one, you know. So.
Yeah. I just spoke with one of our classmates. She did the show Betty. And I was so surprised at what she remembered. She told me, she said, you know what I remember about you? I remember sitting by you and always wanting to laugh. You always made me laugh. And I was like, wow, of all the things to remember, I know I'm a little crazy, but I would never imagine her saying that I always made her laugh. And that just made me feel so good, you know, because we did have
Betty from our class. How is she doing?
She's wonderful. And, you know, she just made me feel so happy that that was the most kindest, you know, compliment that I've had in such a long time. So you're right. When you're being kind and nice and happy to people, they remember that.
Right. Like I worked on a music video for the band The Shins, and the director and producer of it, we were running way behind. We were like crazy late. And you hear like phone calls come in, and you hear him talking them back from the edge and everything. And we did finish it all on time, and it was like at the 11th hour, maybe even 11:30. But he told me that, you know, after everything is said and done, and they look at the video and they like it and they love it, they're not going to remember that, we almost turned it in late. They're going to remember that it was done awesome, and the people that they worked with, they liked working with them. And,
right.
And he's correct.
Yeah, that's true. Because even in me thinking about who I wanted to ask to do this show, that was the first thing that went in my mind. Okay, who did I like? Who had a good relationship with me? Who was very cordial with me? Who had respect for me? And I just, when I got to your name, I was like, oh my God, Matthew! I always called you Movie Matthew because that's what we always talked about were movies. And you always gave me copies of movies, and I just will never, ever, ever forget that.
Well, you're welcome.
So, I just want to thank you, Matthew, for taking time out of your day to be on the show, Ask Aunt Tricia. I mean, you had some very, very good advice, information for us. And I hope to see some of your animation work real soon in a new project coming up. Be sure to let me know when that happens. The
Petridge Farm goldfish. If you see those commercials, I was the animator on the one that's goldfish on a snow day. So the goldfish are on a sled going down the hill. They're playing hockey and having a snowball fight. So they usually bring that one back every winter. So if you see that was me.
Well, I'm going to Google it because, hey, I can't wait to see it. That is awesome, Matthew. That is so awesome. So again, I want to thank you for being here, and I appreciate you just taking time out of your day, and congratulations on your move to the East Coast. And I wish you and your beautiful wife.
Connecticut's great. I recommend it. The weirdest thing for me to get used to is they have a completely different reality of time and distance. When I tell people that Melanie used to have a 9-mile long drive and it would take her an hour, they don't believe me.
Yeah.
They're like, no, of course not. No. And I'm like, no, really. It was just stop and go traffic for an entire hour there and back. And I said, during the award ceremony, because she had to drive through Hollywood to get to work, it would take her an hour and a half because they shut down streets for premieres. And now her commute takes 5 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's in the town right next door. So, to put it to you this way, I've been volunteering at the Red Cross at blood drives. And because of the whole COVID thing, they're having a lot of people come and donate. So towards the end of the drive, we just don't have time to take people. So we have to turn people away. Say, well, if you can't do it tomorrow, at the Red Cross headquarters for all of New England is down the street. It's 3 miles away.
Wow. And
they take blood all day, every day. And some people will be just 3 miles? Wow, that's too far away. I'm 3 miles? Oh.
We walked 3 miles. Come on. Well, that's so wonderful, Matthew, for you volunteering your time like that. That is so admirable. We need.
Well, thank you. I have nothing else to do. No, none of the schools are hiring. So.
Oh, yeah. But still, most people would just sit and wallow in their sorrow. You're out there, and you never know who you might meet during that time, you're out volunteering and meeting people. So, you're still on the right track, because that's what I do. If I don't have anything to do, I go volunteer. I usually do food shelters and things like that.
Right.
But again, I want to thank you for joining me today.
No problem.
And
thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. You're welcome anytime. And I'll talk to you again next time.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
I want to thank you for watching Ask Aunt Tricia Advice Vlog and Podcast. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch this show. Please remember to like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time.